Kareem adjusted his worn backpack as he walked through Central Park with his 7-year-old daughter Celine, the autumn leaves crunching beneath their feet. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the playground, where children of various species played together, a sight that still amazed him even 3 years after first contact. "Papa, I'm hungry." Celine tugged at his jacket, her dark eyes looking up at him hopefully. Kareem smiled and ruffled her black hair. "I packed us sandwiches, Habibi. Let's find a nice spot." They settled on a bench overlooking the pond, and Kareem pulled out 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches wrapped in brown paper. It wasn't much, but it was all he could afford on his construction worker's salary. Being a single father on Earth's new integrated world wasn't easy, especially when alien technology had displaced many human jobs. As Celine bit into her sandwich, a soft whimpering sound caught their attention. Behind a nearby tree, partially hidden in the shadows, sat a small figure with distinctive scaled skin that shimmered between deep purple and silver. The child, clearly one of the draconian species, appeared to be no older than Celine, but her elaborate golden robe suggested nobility. Tears streamed down her reptilian features as she clutched her stomach. "She's crying, Papa," Celine whispered, her sandwich forgotten. Kareem studied the young draconian. He'd learned enough about their species to know that their children were rarely seen in public, especially not alone. The girl's distress was evident, and despite the language barriers that often existed between species, hunger was universal. "Stay here, Habibti," Kareem said softly, standing up. He approached the crying child slowly, his hands visible and non-threatening. "Hey there," he said gently, crouching down to her eye level. "Are you okay?" The young draconian looked up with large amber eyes that held an ancient wisdom despite her apparent youth. She spoke in rapid, melodic tones, her native language, but Kareem caught fragments thanks to the basic translation implant all Earth residents had received. Hungry, lost, scared. Without hesitation, Kareem unwrapped his own sandwich. "Here." He offered it to her with a warm smile. "It's just peanut butter and jelly, but it'll help." The girl stared at the simple sandwich as if it were made of precious metals. Her scales flickered with what Kareem had learned indicated strong emotion among draconians. Tentatively, she took the food and bit into it. Her eyes widened in surprise, and for the first time, she smiled, an expression that transformed her entire face. "Papa, bring her over here," Celine called out, scooting over to make room on the bench. What followed was one of the most heartwarming afternoons of Kareem's life. Despite the language barrier, the 2 girls managed to communicate through gestures, drawings in the dirt, and shared laughter. Celine split her own sandwich with their new friend, and they played simple games while Kareem watched, his heart full, despite his empty stomach. As the sun began to set, a low humming filled the air. The trees around them bent backward as a massive ship materialized overhead, its surface gleaming like obsidian and gold. Other park visitors scattered in panic, but the young draconian girl simply stood up, her expression sad but resigned. From the ship descended a figure that made Kareem's breath catch in his throat. The being was unmistakably female, and clearly, the child's mother. Her scales bore the same purple-silver hue but were larger and more magnificent. Golden armor adorned her form, and a crown of what appeared to be living fire crowned her head. This was no ordinary draconian. This was Queen Zephyra, ruler of the Draconian Empire and one of the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. The queen's amber eyes, identical to her daughter's, swept the scene, taking in the sandwich crumbs, the children's drawings, and Kareem standing protectively near both girls. Her expression was unreadable as she spoke in her native tongue to her daughter. The young princess responded animatedly, gesturing toward Kareem and Celine, clearly recounting their afternoon together. Queen Zephyra's gaze fixed on Kareem, and he felt the weight of eons pressing down on him. Then, something unexpected happened. The queen smiled. She approached Kareem with graceful steps that barely disturbed the ground. When she spoke, her voice carried the automatic translation of advanced technology, rich and melodious. "Human Kareem," she said, somehow knowing his name. My daughter, Princess Lyrelay, has told me of your kindness. In our culture, to share food with a stranger's child is to claim them as your own kin. Kareem's eyes widened. Your Majesty, I just saw a hungry child. Any parent would have done the same. Queen Zafira's expression grew thoughtful. Would they? In my observations of your species and others, this is not always true. Yet you gave your own meal to a being you had never met, expecting nothing. In return, she turned to watch as Seelan and Princess Lyrelay hugged goodbye, the universal language of childhood friendship transcending all barriers. There is an old draconian prophecy, the Queen continued, that speaks of a species whose greatest strength lies not in their claws or fire, but in their capacity to see family and strangers. For 3 years, I have watched your people struggle with integration, seen some embrace us and others fear us. Today, I have witnessed why the prophecy spoke of humans as the bridge builders of the cosmos. Kareem felt overwhelmed. I don't understand, Your Majesty. Queen Zephyra gestured to her guards, who brought forward an ornate chest. The Draconian Empire would be honored to offer Earth a full alliance, trade agreements, technology exchange, and mutual defense pacts. Because of the kindness you showed my daughter, your species has proven they possess the rarest trait in the universe, unconditional compassion. As the Queen and her daughter prepared to depart, Princess Lyrelay ran back to Kareem and pressed something into his hand, a small warm stone that glowed with inner light. For Seelan, she said in carefully pronounced English, then added something in Draconian that the translator rendered as, Sister of my heart. Later that evening, as Kareem tucked Seelan into bed, she held the glowing stone close to her chest. Papa, she said sleepily, do you think we'll see Lyrelay again? Kareem smiled, thinking of the communication device Queen Zafira had left, along with a promise of education opportunities and a new job offer that would change their lives forever. I think, Habibti, that sharing your sandwich today opened doors we never even knew existed. As Earth began its new chapter as a full member of the Galactic Council, historians would mark this day as the moment humanity proved that sometimes the greatest strength lies in the simplest act of kindness, a sandwich shared with a stranger who becomes family. In the cosmos, where power was often measured in weapons and territory, humans had shown that their true power lay in their capacity to love unconditionally. And for a single father who had simply seen a hungry child and shared his lunch, that was the most beautiful discovery of all.